As we have learned over the past few weeks, the goal of radio broadcasting, especially in its earliest years, was to transmit information over the airwaves. This new technology eventually exploded in popularity during the 1920s, mostly as a result of the radio station KDKA out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. If you remember from a few weeks ago, KDKA ushered in the commercial radio era by broadcasting the returns of the Warren G. Harding, James M. Cox presidential election in November of 1920. Exactly 2 months later, on January 2, 1921, the same radio station broadcast the first religious service over radio. On that day, radio evangelism was born, when Pittsburgh's Calvary Episcopal Church joined with the Westinghouse Electric Corporation to spread, quote, its joyful voice to the world over the radio station KDKA. Radio technicians from the station wore choir robes to keep them from distracting the church's congregants while they oversaw the broadcasting of the morning's services on the airwaves. As KDKA's forays into broadcasting experimentation make evident, commercial radio and radio evangelism, which is another term for religious radio, were, quote, born together. Radio and radio evangelism provide an enduring example of the interconnectedness of media and religion in modern American history. Though radio was a mass media technology still in its infancy during the 1920s, Americans of all denominational stripes were, in some ways, familiar with the idea of commercial radio when religious broadcasters sent their messages out into the ether in 1920. In conjunction with this week's readings, required video and listening excerpts, today's lecture will focus on the ways that communication technologies changed the way people interacted with and associated with one another. We will also discuss imagined communities, which arose as a result of radio's electric church, particularly focusing on the examples of Aimee Semple McPherson's station KFSG, Charles Fuller's radio program The Old-Fashioned Revival Hour, and I'll also provide a local example of imagined communities created by the LDS Church's programming on Salt Lake City's radio station, KSL. The application of scientific knowledge for practical and industrial purposes has proven wholly transformative for human communications. Throughout history, technical advancements have fundamentally changed the way people interact, associate with, and relate to one another. Modern examples like the internet and particularly social media make this evident. We can reach anybody, anywhere, at any time, whether or not we know them or have ever previously interacted with one another. Places like Twitter, Facebook groups, blogs, the YouTube comments section, and other internet forums allow us in the 21st century to communicate with people based on shared interests or common identities, regardless of our physical proximity to the people behind the screens. For example, thousands of Mormon Twitter users follow the hashtag LDSConf during the first weekends of April and October. While watching or listening to their faith's biannual general conference meetings, Mormon and non-Mormon Twitter users tag their live tweets with hashtag LDSConf, respond to and interact with one another via the Twitter application, and create proximity to each other using the hashtag, despite the fact that these Twitter users are based all over the world. Using hashtag LDSConf allows Mormons all over the world to create a shared social space online in which they feel part of a group without physical interaction. This is an example of what is called an imagined community. Coined as a formal term by Benedict Anderson in his 1983 book, Imagined Communities, imagined communities are socially rather than spatially constructed bodies of people. They perceive or imagine themselves as part of a specific group due to a range of social and or cultural factors. These factors can be things like religion, political affiliation, but can also be more specific things like favorite musical artist, favorite outdoor activity, etc. The possibilities of linking communities by social and cultural factors, also known as interests, are pretty much endless. Pause the lecture here for a moment. Can you think of any imagined communities of which you might be a part? Have you made friends on the internet because of shared interests? Do you consider yourself a part of an internet church? Can you